Hi, I'm Jessa, and this is part of a series of videos to help with revision for the RICS Assessment of Professional Competence. Today I'm doing an overview of the Complaints Handling Procedure document, which falls under the competencies for Ethics, Rules of Conduct and Professionalism, and Client Care. A complaint is any expression of dissatisfaction, and nobody likes to receive these, so the RICS has prepared this document to minimise reputational and financial risk in the event that one happens. This document is a guidance note, which means it's not mandatory to follow, but does represent recommended best practice from the RICS. I've split this video into 3 sections: minimising complaints, actions after receiving a complaint, and professional indemnity insurance. As always, you can find my timestamps, sources, and a link to some example questions in the description below. Minimising complaints. To try and avoid complaints from the outset, the following principles should be applied. Have clear terms of engagement with the clients to help define the scope of work that will be carried out and define how complaints will be managed. Establish effective communication procedures. Follow company policies and RICS standards, including professional statements, procedures, and guidance notes, and good record keeping. One example of company policies is organisations having a complaints handling procedure, or CHP. This is mentioned in the RICS Rules of Conduct as one of the professional obligations for firms regulated by the RICS. An effective complaints handling procedure is the following: fit for purpose, reflecting the size and structure of the business. It's available to staff and readily shared with complainants or potential complainants. It's understood by all staff, with training conducted as necessary. This could include targeted training to help identify needs for both surveyors and staff. The procedure is regularly reviewed by senior management. It's agreed with professional indemnity providers and doesn't compromise their cover. And it must provide details of access to an independent third party, say for example the RICS, in the event that the firm can't resolve any matters themselves. Now on to receiving a complaint. When a client complains, this could typically be by email, online, by phone, in person, or through the mail. The steps that should be followed once a complaint has been received are as follows. Understand the basis of why they've come forward to determine the best course of action to resolve matters. It can simply come from a misunderstanding, and definitely won't always be the case that there's a major problem. We can better understand our clients by speaking to them directly, in person, or on the phone. Next, we should promptly acknowledge receipt of the complaint and apologise for the fact that the client has felt inclined to complain. Show them empathy and put yourself in their position, whilst not admitting any fault or liability. It's good to be proactive and take ownership of the matter, providing confidence that it will be taken seriously. Maintain good record keeping throughout, including all complaints, physical and virtual correspondence, and any relevant information. Make sure you're careful with which information is shared, particularly if there are any confidential details. You should also send the complainant a copy of the firm's CHP, clearly setting out the next steps and timeframes. You should also establish a point of contact for communication on the matter. After this, we need to prepare for the response, ensuring it's within the CHP timescales and tailored for each situation, considering the complainant's perspective, referring to the terms of engagement to justify any actions, and referring to alternative dispute resolution methods available. The firm will need to conduct additional investigations where required, including by independent third parties who can provide a specialist second opinion and/or people who may be able to provide alternative advice and/or legal advisors. Keep the client in the know if this is required. You may also need to notify your professional indemnity insurers. It's best to do this early and review the insurer's requirements to ensure that you're complying with them. Although most complaints can be resolved relatively easily, sometimes differences of opinion may persist if the proposed resolution is unacceptable, and the complainant may choose to escalate the situation. During escalation, we need to make sure that the company's complaint handling procedures are followed and that an alternative redress provider is available to the client. This is a third party who will establish the outcome. This is free in the UK, and the RICS has an approved list of providers. It's also worth considering whether your firm needs to seek specialist advice from a legal advisor. Finally, we need to learn from the experience reviewing the impact and outcome of any complaints. This can help improve the services provided and reduce the chance of another similar misunderstanding happening. And finally, onto professional indemnity insurance, or PII. Having a complaints handling procedure is useful for professional indemnity insurance providers, so when complaints are received, it's important to notify them, especially in the case of potential negligence and/or situations that could give rise to a claim. If this isn't notified as soon as possible, this may not comply with the terms of the PII policy, and this could compromise the cover that the client may be entitled to receive. It's important to comply with all requirements to provide the greatest protection for yourselves and your clients. The terms may vary between insurance providers and depending on legislation and your organisation. If you're unsure about how to satisfy the terms and conditions of your PII brokers, it's good to speak to them so that they can assist and make sure that you do comply. When trying to renew or obtain PII, they may analyse the value and risk of the company when considering the premium you need to pay. Firms need to present how complaints have been received, recorded, managed and resolved. Good complaints management and reduction strategies can influence future PII costs and cover. Thanks for watching this video. This document also has appendices which provide useful sources, reference to RICS standards, professional indemnity insurance, and the details of life of a claim, particularly when this is escalated to court. It's worth noting that the Rules of Conduct and PII insurance documents have also been updated since this guidance note was produced, so it's worth looking at those too. If you have anything else to add, please feel free to leave a comment or contact me on my socials in the description. I'm also making other videos to help with revision for the APC Final Interview, so check out my channel for more videos on that, or for content to do with mental health, sustainability and construction. That's all I have to say for now. I hope it helped build on your mind.